The future of warfare, advanced technologies and global military strategies. Welcome to the show, folks. Today we're diving headfirst into a topic that's both fascinating and kind of terrifying. The future of warfare. We're talking next-level stuff here, attacking power grids, manipulating the weather and unleashing swarms of AI-controlled drones. Countries around the world, especially the big players like the US, Russia and China, are pouring billions into developing these advanced weapons, so buckle up because we're about to explore the cutting edge of military tech and how it's going to completely change the way wars are fought in the 21st century. Power grid attacks, shutting down nations with the flick of a switch. Imagine this. You want to cripple an enemy nation without firing a single shot, without a single boot on the ground. Sounds crazy, right? But it's totally possible if you take out their power grid. Think about it. Electricity runs everything in a modern society. You knock that out, you throw the whole country into chaos. The US and Russia, they've been neck and neck in this arms race for a while now, developing some seriously sophisticated cyber weapons. These aren't your average hackers. We're talking about state-sponsored teams with the skills and the resources to infiltrate the most secure networks. They could hack into a country's power grid, mess with the control systems, and boom nationwide blackout. And it wouldn't just be the lights going out. We're talking communication systems down, hospitals in the dark, traffic lights going haywire. It'd be absolute pandemonium. We've also got EMPs, or high-energy electromagnetic pulses, to worry about. This isn't some fringe science fiction anymore, folks. This is real-deal technology. You detonate one of these bad boys high in the atmosphere and it sends out this massive electromagnetic shockwave, and when that wave hits, it fries electronics. Anything with a circuit board is toast. Imagine that happening over a major city, cars stalling, planes falling out of the sky. It'd be like an instant technological apocalypse. Countries like China and Russia, they've been investing heavily in this tech, and it's a terrifying thought. Think about how vulnerable we are to this kind of attack. Our daily lives are so intertwined with technology that a sudden blackout would be catastrophic. From our smartphones to our smart homes, everything relies on a steady flow of electricity. In the event of a power grid attack, emergency services would be overwhelmed, unable to respond effectively. Governments around the world are aware of this vulnerability and are constantly working on strategies to protect their infrastructure. Cybersecurity experts are on the front lines, developing new technologies to defend against these threats. The future of national security will depend on our ability to safeguard our power grids and critical infrastructure. It's a high-stakes game, and the consequences of failure are too dire to ignore. Weather warfare weaponizing Mother Nature. The idea of using the elements as a weapon is both fascinating and terrifying. This next one sounds like something straight out of a conspiracy theory, but stay with me, folks, it's more real than you might think. What if I told you that we might be able to control the weather? Imagine having the power to summon rain or sunshine at will. I'm not talking about doing a rain dance here. This isn't about ancient rituals or folklore. I'm talking about using technology to unleash the raw power of Mother Nature on our enemies. Imagine the strategic advantage of controlling the skies. You've probably heard of HAARP, the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. It's a name that often pops up in discussions about weather control. This place is like a magnet for conspiracy theorists, right? People have all sorts of wild ideas about what goes on there. It's this massive array of antennas up in Alaska, and the official story is that it's for studying the ionosphere. But is that the whole truth? But there are these theories floating around that HAARP is actually a weapon, that it can be used to manipulate weather patterns. Could it be true? Now, I'm not saying I believe all that, but think about it. If you could control the weather, you could control the world. The implications are staggering. Imagine unleashing a hurricane on an enemy coastline, or triggering a drought that cripples their agricultural industry. The devastation could be immense. It sounds far-fetched, but so did a lot of technologies that are now commonplace. Think about the internet or smartphones, and it's not just the US that's messing around with this stuff. Countries like China are also exploring weather modification techniques. The race is on. Ultra and hypersonic rays, weapons of instantaneous destruction. All right, let's talk about directed energy weapons, or DWs for short. This is some real-deal Star Wars stuff, folks. We're talking about harnessing energy lasers, microwaves, you name it, and focusing it into a beam that can travel at the speed of light. The US military, they've been working on this tech for years. They've already got laser systems mounted on ships that can shoot down drones, and they're developing even more powerful systems that could take out missiles mid-flight. But it's not just lasers we got to worry about. There are also these things called hypersonic missiles. These bad boys travel at speeds faster than Mach 5, which means they can cover insane distances in a matter of minutes. And guess what? Some folks are talking about putting energy weapons on these hypersonic missiles. So picture this, a missile screaming towards its target at 5 times the speed of sound, armed with a laser that can vaporize anything in its path. Chapter 4. Jamming aircraft. Grounding the enemy in the digital age. You ever try to use your phone in a dead zone? Frustrating, right? Now imagine that same principle applied to a fighter jet in the middle of a dogfight. That's what we're talking about with electronic warfare, folks. These days, fighter jets are basically flying computers. Everything from navigation to weapons systems relies on electronics. And where there's electronics, there's vulnerability. China especially has been investing heavily in electronic warfare capabilities. They've been developing these powerful jammers that can disrupt communication and radar systems. Imagine a squadron of F-35s, the most advanced fighter jets in the US arsenal, suddenly going dark in the middle of a mission. Their radar screens go blank, their comms go dead, they're essentially flying blind. That's the kind of chaos that electronic warfare can create. And it's not just about jamming signals. Chapter 5. The rise of the drones, swarms, AI, and autonomous warfare. Drones, man, they're everywhere these days. You got your delivery drones, your photography drones, your hobbyist drones, but the military, they're taking drone technology to a whole other level. We're not just talking about those predator drones that you see in the news, launching missiles from miles overhead. Those are so yesterday. We're talking about swarms of drones, hundreds, even thousands of them, all working together like a pack of wolves. Countries like Israel, the US, and China, they're at the forefront of this technology. These drone swarms can be programmed to overwhelm enemy air defenses, creating a digital fog of war. Imagine a wave of these things, each one carrying a small explosive payload, descending on a target like a swarm of angry bees. There's no way to shoot them all down. Chapter 6. Super soldiers and killer robots, the future of ground warfare. Alright, so we've talked about what's happening in the air, but what about on the ground? The battlefield is evolving rapidly, and the changes are nothing short of revolutionary. Are we going to be stuck with boots on the ground forever, or is there a new era of warfare on the horizon? Well, the future of ground warfare is looking pretty wild too, folks. We're talking about a blend of human and machine working together in ways we've only seen in movies. The US military, they've been pouring billions into developing exoskeletons for soldiers. These investments are aimed at creating a new breed of soldier, one that can outperform any human limitations. These are basically wearable robots that augment human strength and endurance. Imagine the possibilities when a soldier's physical capabilities are enhanced by technology. And imagine a soldier who can carry twice the weight, run twice as fast, and never get tired. This isn't just science fiction, it's becoming a reality. We're talking about creating super soldiers, folks. These enhanced soldiers could redefine the very nature of ground combat, and it's not just about strength and endurance. The technology is also about enhancing situational awareness and decision-making on the battlefield. These exoskeletons can also be equipped with advanced armor, HUD displays, and even weapons systems. This means soldiers can have real-time data and enhanced protection. We're talking about turning soldiers into walking tanks. The integration of technology and human capability is pushing the boundaries of what's possible. But it's not just the US that's making moves in this area. Other nations are also investing heavily in advanced military technology. Russia, they've got their own next-generation tanks like the Armata T-14. This tank is designed to dominate the battlefield with its cutting-edge features. This thing is a beast, folks. It's built to withstand the harshest conditions and deliver unmatched firepower. It's got advanced armor, a remote-controlled turret, and some people are even saying it has AI systems that can help it identify and target enemies. This could change the dynamics of tank warfare. And then there's the really crazy stuff, the stuff that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. We're entering an era where robots could fight alongside humans. We're talking about humanoid robots, or mechs, as they're known in some circles. These machines could take on roles that are too dangerous for human soldiers. Now, this technology is still in its early stages, but it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. The future of ground warfare is being shaped by these innovations, and it's closer than we think. So, there you have it, folks. The future of warfare is looking pretty freaking intense. We're talking about cyber attacks that can cripple nations, weather manipulation on a global scale, and swarms of AI-controlled drones blacking out the sky. And that's just scratching the surface. The technology is developing at an insane pace, and it's hard to predict exactly how it's all going to play out. But one thing's for sure, the rules of warfare are being rewritten right before our eyes.